Hello, I'm Emma Hammett from First Aid for Life and onlinefirstaid.com. Today I'm going to go through 12 top safety tips and legalities that you may not be aware of that are incredibly important when driving and could save your life. One of the first ones, which is unusual, and yes, it might be a freak accident, but there have been a spate of them, so a few of them indeed, is getting into a car wearing your lanyard. So if you get into your car with your lanyard on, particularly if you've got the big solid lanyards or ones with keys or something attached, what has happened is that if somebody's been involved in a minor crash or relatively minor, sufficient to inflate the airbags, but not sufficient to generally cause serious injury, actually having that lanyard on has made injuries worse or caused injuries where without the lanyard they may not have actually experienced any injury at all and may have walked away. So the first one, the airbag imploded and it forced the lanyard straight through the driver's chest and caused a collapsed lung which needed hospital treatment. And the police reckoned that without that lanyard the person would have just walked away unhurt. In the second accident, a driver wore a lanyard with a set of keys attached that were used for opening medicine cabinets, and the airbag was deployed and the keys went through the person's bowel. So please, it's an easy thing to do. When you get in the car, take it off, stick it on the passenger seat. It will make life safer. Or opt for the breakaway lanyards that will instantly release if they get stuck or caught. But just take it off. Likewise with pens in your top pocket. There has been a fatality from one of those pens in an accident because you can move forward and actually it punctured through, and it's quite often the implosion of the airbags that can cause these things to go through. So it actually went through and it caused a fatal injury. So make sure that you haven't got pens in your top pocket, you haven't got anything dangling down that's got keys or a sharp lanyard on it. Likewise, don't hold keys in your hand if you're a passenger in the car. When I was a child, I was holding my brother's door keys in the hand and I ended up with 7 stitches in my chin, because when you have the accident, that's what tends to happen. So don't hold anything sharp. And likewise as well with children with lollies. When I was in A&E, I have seen lollies go through the back of the soft pallet, and that can happen in a car. It can also happen if a child's on a scooter or they're running along with a lolly in their mouth. If they fall over, that lolly can go right through the back of their soft palate, and that's a really nasty injury. So if they're eating a lolly, sit them down and don't let them eat a lolly in the car. So I know it sounds a bit nanny state-ish, but actually I've seen injuries that have happened from those, and it's easily preventable. Other things and laws, mobile phones. So we all know not to be on the mobile phone when we're driving. And statistics show that there were 32 cases which were directly attributable to people on their mobile phone, and that was 32 fatalities while driving because somebody was distracted by their phone. So there are various fines. There's a 6 penalty points and £200 fine. You could be banned from driving. You get a £1,000 fine. If you've only just passed your driving test in the last 2 years, you could lose your licence. And if you're caught by police while driving on the phone a second time, it's a £1,000 fine. However, a lot of people aren't aware that if you are reading texts or emails when you're stopped at traffic lights, that's also illegal, as your engine is still running. And so this also applies to drivers of start-stop cars where the engine cuts out to save fuel. So that is also illegal. Sat-navs, be careful with sat-navs. So they are another distraction. They need to be fixed and secure. And if you're using your your phone as a sat nav, it needs to be secured in the car. Again, there's a fine involved if you're just looking at your phone as a sat nav, and I didn't know that. So useful information for me to know too. Smoking, it's illegal to smoke in a car if any of your passengers are under the age of 18. And you're also responsible for any passengers who's smoking if there's under the age of 18. And both smoker and the driver can be fined. In terms of distractions, eating and drinking behind the wheel is not against the law. But if the police feel that you aren't in complete control of your vehicle, there can be up to 9 penalty points and £100 fine. Useful stuff to know. The other thing is sitting in the car in your coat and putting your seatbelt on. You are not as secure when you're in a padded coat, and likewise with children in their seatbelts. If there's an accident, it's possible for them to slide out of their coats because they are not as secure. So strap them in, and you can put the coat over the top of them, but don't strap them in their coats. Pets, if your pets are roaming free in the car, you could end up with a £5,000 fine for careless driving. It can invalidate your insurance. You can get points on your license, and you can go to court. So make sure that any pets in your car are secured in an appropriate dog or cat or whatever pet it is container that is secured within the car, and that you are an appropriate pet carrier for the pet you're sorting. The other thing is, if you leave your child in the car at a petrol station, and I know we've all done this, they've fallen asleep and you're driving along and you think, just need to pop in and pay, or pop in and grab some milk. I can see them. It is illegal to leave a child alone if it places them at risk. Just something to think about. And the last thing is, if you've changed your medication, make sure you've informed the DVLA. They also need to know if there's any change in your health condition. If you've had a seizure of any sort, it's vital to inform them. And any form of physical disabilities or visual impairments that could affect your ability to drive. You have to check it with the DVLA, otherwise it will invalidate your insurance. And littering, again, be it an apple core or a cigarette butt or any form of rubbish, if you're caught, you can get fined £150. So useful stuff to know. I hope that you've enjoyed listening. That's Emma Hammett from First Aid for Life and onlinefirstaid.com.